Hello viewers, this is Wolf here. Welcome to Wolf's Haven and to another Monster Hunter figure review. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Capcom figure builder creator's model, Shagaru Magala. A monster that was first introduced in Monster Hunter 4. It's actually surprising that it took this long. It took until after its recent appearance in Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak for them to finally develop a model of Shagaru Magala. And I'm pretty excited about this since experiencing it for the first time in Rise was cool, and from what I'm seeing on the box, this looks like it's going to be a cool looking model here. If we just take a look at this, we have a shot of Shagaru Magala right here on the box, looking very magnificent here. And then just quickly scanning to the sides of the box here, we have some other shots and angles of Shagaru Magala. On the very back, displaying some other angles of it here. And the final side here, just another close-up angle of Shagaru Magala. So, without any further ado, I'm going to unbox this and take a look at this statue. Whoa, okay, so straight out of the box, this Shagaru Magala statue looks insane. I think this is easily one of the best creators model statues I've seen so far. Just the way that they're able to replicate Shagaru Magala's colors and make them pop is just so beautiful here. The level of detail here is like almost unparalleled. Like the way that they've captured all of these golds that envelop the entirety of the body, while also having these very beautiful contrasting colors, like these purples on the claws, is just very well done. And those purples are a very nice shade of purple. It's almost like a midnight purple here, which has a very nice sheen to it, and it shines just as much as the golds do. And they just come together and just look really beautiful here. If we just take a close look at some of the detail on Shagaru Magala's body here, you can see that there's quite a lot of color variation throughout the entirety of the body. So just looking around the neck area here, you can see that we have a lot of these golds here which surround the majority of the body, but then we also have these very nice looking bronze colors from these spikes that kind of line the back of the head as right here. And then of course, like the underbody of Shagaru Magala, we have these gray colors which kind of look like there's a little bit of a greenish or bluish tint to it, but these gray colors do contrast the golds very nicely, I think, and it does have this nice bronze lining directly down the center with these bronze spikes right here. If we take a closer look to the face actually has quite a bit of detail, which I'm pretty surprised about. There's a very nice texture going throughout the face detail here, especially on the side where we have these little, it looks almost like fins, but there's a bit of like a ribbed texture here where we have these golds going into those gray colors in the centers right here. This looks really cool, and just the way that this pattern, like it kind of wraps down and almost like spirals around into this circle here on the side of the face, looks really good. And then if we look to the chin, we can of course see various chin spikes right here. Again, looking very textured. You can see each individual segment as it goes out to the point here, which looks really good. They definitely did a really good job modeling the face here. Even taking a look inside the mouth, the tongue has a very nice color gradient here where we go from those purples out into that grayish color, very similar to the underside of the body here. So that looks really good. The teeth look decent as well. And I think one of the cool details about the face here is that you can of course notice Shagaru Magala's eyes finally. You can definitely make it out too. You can see the red sclera and the black pupil in the eyes just beneath the horn here. So that looks really cool, and of course the horns look very good as well too. We have that dark brown color on the horns, and it looks very nicely textured here with a lot of these sections that are jutting out. It feels very rough and very rugged here on the horn, which is a very nice texture, and everything looks good, especially when you look to the back of the horn where we have these these brown and bronze spikes just right behind the top of the head here. So all of that looks really good here. And if we take a look at the claws are probably one of my favorite looking parts on Shagaru Magala right here. Because again, I really love this midnight purple that we have on the claws. It shines very brightly along with the golds on the rest of the body. So it complements the golds very nicely, but the claws also have a very nice texture here. You can kind of see that we have a lot of grooves kind of going down the length of the claws here, which look really good. It's a very nice textured claw, and of course I love how they captured the angles of it. It looks very sharp here, and it kind of seems like the purples are kind of more situated towards the top of the claws, where this intersection here kind of transitions into a bit of a like a brown color as it meets the rest of the claw here. If you look on the top portion of these claws here, you can kind of make out the musculature of Shagaru Magala's claws here just before the wings, and they look very nicely detailed as well here. So everything here is just very beautiful. If we take a quick look to the tail, just this portion right here, we can kind of see more of those bronze spikes that was lining the back of the body from the head. You can see that those spikes are a lot more pronounced here, and there's more color gradation right here with the spikes. So you can see as they go out to the points, they go from a gold to a bronze into a very dark brown right here at the tips of the spikes, and they look really good. And you can kind of see there's more of an abundance of spikes the further we go down the end of the tail here, completely wrapping around the tail. So that looks really cool here, especially when you see these spikes kind of get to the end of the tail here. The scales going all the way down the tail looking very beautiful, of course. If we take a look to the back of Shagaru Magala, of course, we're going to get more of that overpowering gold color on the wings. But the thing that's cool is that the wings aren't just gold. There is a bit more detail here as we have a bit of a color gradient here, where there is a bit of a transition from these bronze colors into this gold that we see right here. But at the very tips of the wings, we have a very bright silver at the very tips here, which look very good. So we get like a nice transition of colors from a darker color to a brighter color on the wings here, and it looks very beautiful. And then if you just take a quick look at the back, we can kind of see more of those bronze spikes going all the way down the back of Shagaru Magala here. You can kind of make out Shagaru Magala's muscles here is just in between the wings here, which do look really cool. So I guess the final thing to look at is the base here. So I haven't actually played Monster Hunter 4, but I am kind of familiar with some of the levels. So I believe this is supposed to be the Sanctuary, and this is a cool little reference to Monster Hunter 4, because I believe this is supposed to be the spire here, that one spire that's kind of like jutting out, and it's kind of wrapped with these red cloths here. And this cloth looks really nice. You can kind of see that it's very weathered, very torn. It looks like it's been sitting here for eons, and yeah, it just looks really good. The spire looks very aged, like it looks very ancient because we have a lot of these cracks. It looks damaged, and yeah, like it just seems like everything is crumbling and decaying here. It's a very nice aesthetic that they have here. The cloth looking very good, and I like the pose of the cloth as well, where you can kind of see that it's wrapping around the spire, and you can kind of see that it's flowing in the wind as well. So this looks really good, and it adds another contrasting factor to Shagaru Magala with those reds and those browns from the spire here as well. You can kind of see that there's like a nice texture of the spire if we look closer to it right here. So there's quite a bit of detail on this as well. So everything here is very impressive, from not only just Shagaru Magala itself, but also the base detail. Everything here just looks really good. So the other thing that I wanted to mention is the pose. This pose is just perfect. What better way to pose Shagaru Magala than when he made his epic appearance in Sunbreak after destroying Seregios and Barioth, with his wings outstretched, covering the moon like an eclipse. This pose just works, and with all of those golden scales completely being presented to you like this, it'll just reflect all of that light and it'll just shine brilliantly. Like, this just looks magnificent, especially with the way that Shagaru Magala is looking down. I feel that this statue will definitely benefit from being positioned in a higher up area in your display area, so that you're looking straight up at Shagaru Magala and you'll see all of its wings and its head looking directly at you. You can see that the wings are kind of pointing downward as well, so you definitely get the full benefit of it, much like you do during the intro cutscene as well. So I feel like this pose looks very good. It's not a very versatile pose because you're really only going to get the best look of it from the front. If you do it from the sides, it's going to look a little bit weird, but while it's mainly just a forward-facing pose, they did make the most of it, and it looks incredible here. So here's a size comparison with Shagaru Magala, and as you can see, Shagaru Magala is about 2.5 cans tall, which is about 14.5 inches tall. So this is actually a pretty large statue. When we're talking about the width, Shagaru Magala also measures up to about 15 inches wide as well, so this is definitely a pretty large creator's model statue here. It's going to command quite a bit of space in the display area. You're going to need a lot of width and also some good top room, because you're going to need 14.5 inches of top room in order to have this in a display area. This is not a very small statue, and you can even see, just as it's compared to the older creator's model Velkhana, this just completely dwarfs Velkhana here. So definitely something to consider if you're going to be picking up this Shagaru Magala. You're going to need some space to dedicate to this one, for sure. So that's pretty much everything that I wanted to highlight in regards to the Shagaru Magala statue. If I were to go into my final thoughts, if you're a fan of Shagaru Magala and you're curious about picking up this statue, you will not be disappointed by picking this up. This is a perfect recreation of Shagaru Magala in statue form, and it's even a good reference to Monster Hunter 4. Like I mentioned before, with the base, the way that they designed this location to be like the same area that Shagaru Magala first appears in, with that spire looking decayed, with the raggedy red cloths hanging off of it and twisting in the wind, all of that stuff looks beautiful and I feel was just perfectly executed. And then on top of that, all of the detail around Shagaru Magala's body, all of the colors are just perfect. Those purples on the claws, those deep midnight purples are just beautiful, and they have a very nice sheen on them. When you get light reflecting off of those purples, they just look really beautiful and very menacing, especially when combined with those beautiful golds that reflect so much light. You're going to be getting this statue dazzling and shining in a good well-lit area, and it just looks beautiful. The pose was just brilliant, and everything on this was just executed very well. I think this is easily one of the best creators model statues that they've released thus far, and I'm really looking forward to seeing more in the future. Just seeing how well they designed the golds on this makes me really want them to make a cool Taroth statue, because I would really love to see it designed similarly to this. But yeah, this Shagaru Magala looks incredible, and that's gonna do it for this video. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you guys found it informative. If you have any questions about Shagaru Magala or for any of the other Monster Hunter statues or plushies, feel free to drop a comment. But apart from that, there's definitely going to be more Monster Hunter videos and unboxings coming in the future, so I hope you guys stay tuned for all of that. But until then, I hope you guys have a good day or good night, depending on where you are, and I will see you all later.